So Fear the Walking Dead is back with their second half. We are starting with episode 8 this time around. We don't have a name for the episode yet, but it's episode 8 of season 6. It's going to be a full spoiler review, so if you haven't seen the episode yet and you don't want to get anything spoiled for you, do not watch this review. So this episode we pick up right with John Dorie, fantastic character. We see he's living in a cabin, and it's later revealed that this isn't just any ordinary cabin. This is a cabin that he grew up in. I am not 100% sure, but I think it's the cabin that we saw him in the flashbacks to him and June's time in season 4. It's not very said. I assume it is, but we don't actually know. But we see him living in the cabin, and not only is he just living in the cabin, but he's heavily contemplating taking his own life. You see him put the gun up to his head about 4 times, and then every single time he's about to do it, a walker washes up, so he has to kill that walker. So you can tell that he's contemplating it, but he's more thinking of it, but he doesn't really want to do it, because if he did want to do it, he wouldn't have killed the walkers, or maybe he just doesn't want to actually go out that way when you think of it. But he's kind of going off, making his own way about. He goes up to a shop. He does this thing he used to do where he rents a movie and he wrote his name on this sheet so people knew that he's the one who took the movie. But when he goes to the shop, inside the shop is Dakota and Morgan, who have been separated from Alicia and Charlie from episode 7. When they were all together, they've been separated, so now Morgan and Dakota are trying to make their way back to their community they're setting up. And Morgan was quite happy to see John for obvious reasons. They are best friends, after all. Morgan does say it within this episode. But they're in this kind of shop. They're talking about what's going to happen, and of course a ranger makes their way in, so they kind of have to lay low, hide behind the stalls, hoping for the ranger to leave soon. And he does, but they go back to the cabin. John doesn't really want to leave, and it's understandable why he doesn't want to leave. You can see his perspective now is like the way Morgan was at the end of All Out War, where he's like, he just wants to be left alone. He doesn't want to go into war or anything. But Morgan has a very fair point where he's saying, yeah, I was like that, and you're the one who brought me out of it. You're the one who got me into what I want to be. You're the one who gave me this family, and he doesn't want to let John go back to the way he was. So they start to repair a car so that they can make their way back to the gore. I don't know what they're called. It's a canyon. They make their way back to the town they are building. Because there's so many walkers, they can't just drive. They have to fix, or they can't just walk through. They have to build a car to get through. So they start to repair a car. There's quite some good moments where you get to see John a lot more, and he just, like, you see him talking to Morgan and talking to Dakota, and all he wants to be is left alone. And I was thinking at some stages, like, just leave the guy alone. All he wants to do is be left alone. You leave him alone, eventually he'll come back to you guys. Same way Rick said to Morgan, you can hide away, but you can't run away from the world, so just give him time to come back. But of course, they're not going to let that happen. They make their way up to the bridge in this truck that they've repaired, and it was a decent sequence. I thought up to this point it was a fine episode. Nothing amazing was happening, but then they start to go through. Dakota's driving the car. It stalls one stage. Walker head gets caught underneath the wheel, so they can't drive. Then the engine cuts out. All this kind of stuff. One thing I was thinking as this whole thing was playing out is, why does John not have a hand-to-hand combat weapon? You see, everyone's got their own weapons, but John is using the back end of a gun. You think he'd have a knife or a hatchet at some point, but he doesn't for some reason. I don't know why he never had a hand-to-hand combat weapon. But they make their way through. John fixes the truck, and then of course there is a shit ton of walkers around. Morgan goes off somewhere. I don't know exactly where Morgan went off to. I don't know why, but before that he did call Virginia and telling her exactly where John's cabin is, because John was saying he's not going with them. He's going back to his cabin, but then since Virginia knows where his cabin is, he can't go back to there. So Morgan was trying to leave it as a place where John has to go with Morgan, because at the start of season 4, Morgan got his wounded leg. He wants to be left alone. He wants to just walk off on his own, but John wouldn't leave him. So Morgan was trying to return the favor in letting John, like, making sure that John actually does go with them, because he's got nowhere else to go. Morgan, as I said, I don't know where he went off to, but then John and Dakota were talking. They were looking for this right part. Of course, a walker comes alive. Dakota falls. Walker's about to kill Dakota, and she takes out a knife and stabs this walker in the head, revealing that this knife is the knife that killed the ranger, who I actually can't remember his name. His name is Cameron. So it's revealed that Virginia, or Dakota, was actually the one who killed Cameron, and then of course that is the reason why Virginia was covering it up. I always thought it was just because some random ranger was trying to kill her, but then the more you think of it, why would Dakota be covering just for a random ranger? But then John is saying, okay, we're gonna move on. We're not gonna say anything. But why did you do it? It's explained that the reason she killed him was because he found out her way of getting out of Lawton, and she didn't want to be stuck there. She liked her way of getting out, so she killed him for that very reason. And throughout the sequence, you see her like literally losing it. She's gone pretty much insane. She's gone crazy. And John's trying to calm her down and says, okay, maybe my purpose is to just bring you back, as in like to help you grow. And then she shoots him, and I lost my shit. John has been like, ever since he was introduced, I've loved this character. I really wanted to see him kind of maybe meet Rick Grimes one day, because there's a shot in this episode when he's looking down, you don't see his face, you just see the hat and you see the gun, and it just looks like Rick. He's been like the Rick Grimes of Fear the Walking Dead, and I've loved his character. And then you see him get shot, and I was like, oh my fucking god. And the look of surprise, and just he looks like a deer who's been caught in headlights as he looks at Dakota in just like absolute disgust and that what she has done. And it was just heartbreaking to see this. And then she walks up, she pushes him into the river, and he falls down. And then the whole sequence of him in water I actually thought was stunning. Him just kind of floating underwater, looking around, looking as if like, okay, well, is it for me? Do I just give up here now? He picks up the photo of him and his father, and then he swims up, grabs onto a log, and you see Dakota getting ready to shoot him as he's going down the river. Morgan comes up, he's like, what happened to John? And she just casually just says, oh yeah, he's floating in the river there with a bullet in his chest. And Morgan's looking quite pissed at her. She's actually quite threatening him, saying now, pointing the gun at him, saying, okay, what's going to happen now is you're going to take me back to community just like you were, and we're going to live, and we're going to do exactly what we were going to do before all this played out. Morgan, being Morgan, says that's not going to happen. He whacks the gun away from her, and he puts the axe right up against her neck, and then she's laughing, saying, you're not going to kill me because I'm the one who saved you. So we now know that she's the one who saved him, and it was not actually Madison. Everyone was thinking it was Madison, even in this episode when he says to says to John, I don't know who saved me. I was thinking, okay, hopefully it's Madison. But of course, since this was originally meant to be the mid-season finale, I thought, okay, maybe Madison's reveal is going to be now. But no, it was Dakota, and it's fairly obvious that it was Dakota, because she literally described it the whole way of how it was going to be, because the only person who would know how this whole sequence had played out would have been the one who saved him, because even Virginia was gone at this point, that he was up against the back of the church. He crawled his way over there, and the walkers were on top of him about to eat him. And then Dakota saved him, patched him up, and left him that note. So Morgan thought his purpose was to save all these people, and then to bring his people back to this place. But Dakota says, no, your purpose, the reason I saved you, was for you to kill Dakota. So now Morgan's purpose, everything you thought he was around for, is just completely gone. I don't know what's that going to do to Morgan. I don't know what it's going to do now to Morgan that his best friend has been killed. But honestly, I hope he gives Dakota back to Virginia. Dakota just looks psychotic. I've thought so far all these episodes, I've liked her character. I thought she was a nice person, but just seeing what we see now, it's not even just that she killed John. She just seems psychotic. She feels like she's not actually there to help anyone. She feels like she's just there purely for herself and doesn't give a crap about anyone. So it's not even the fact that she killed John that I want to see her gone. It's just that I feel like you can't trust her, and now just seeing her in that last 10 minutes, she seems really crazy, and I don't think you can live with someone like that. It feels like someone like that needs to be either locked up or killed, so I kind of hope something happens there with her. But Morgan says to Virginia on the radio, before anything happens with them, they gotta save John. John is going down the river towards them. You better go find him. So then Virginia's sitting still with June, sitting in John's cabin, as all the rangers are looking around for her. June looks out. She sees John lying on the sand outside his hut. She grabs her bag and sprints over to him, and he had his face down. I was kind of hoping he passed out from the loss of blood, but no, John is a walker, and it was absolutely so sad and so disappointing to see John sitting there as a walker, because this guy is just an amazing character. You see throughout this episode, he's an amazing shot. He would have been great moving forward, but he's dead now, and it's just so sad, especially because June and John had just been married. It was heartbreaking to see him. Like June puts him down, and then that's the end of the episode. And I'm so disappointed that John is dead now. He was like, honestly, besides Morgan, who is my favorite, one of my favorite all-time Walking Dead characters. Besides Rick, he is my favorite Walking Dead character. To see John, who was my second favorite in Fear the Walking Dead, be put down, it was so disappointing. I don't know. I wonder, was that always the plan to kill off John in this point, or was it because of COVID, and since they never actually filmed it, maybe John the actor didn't want to be filming stuff during COVID. Honestly, I don't know what happened here, but honestly, just seeing John's death was just, it was sad. It was shocking. I didn't expect to see John's death. I was assuming John was going to go back with them, and he was going to he was going to be part of moving forward. I was really shocked at what happened. I was shocked that John died this way. I'm glad June was there. I'm glad June, not the fact that June didn't get to say her goodbye, but I'm just glad that June actually put him down. And just, I'm honestly shocked that John's gone. One of my favorite characters, now he's gone, and I don't know what's going to happen moving forward. I hope Dakota gets what she deserves, and honestly, I'm really excited now for episode 9. Fear the Walking Dead is just been absolutely fantastic this season, and I'm really excited to continue on. Hopefully the quality stays, and this is going to be the best season Fear the Walking Dead has ever done. But if you want to see my future reviews of these episodes of Fear the Walking Dead, make sure you click the subscribe button so you can come back for my review of episode 9, 10, and so on and so forth. And as always, thanks for watching.